For many years, ABC News has relied on David Muir, a well-known figure in American news. But recently, something startling came to light, leaving his followers incredulous and raising doubts about his future. What is this latest development in the life of one of the nation's most renowned journalists? Join us as we expose mysteries you might not have known existed and reveal the truth behind the headlines. As the host of ABC's World News Tonight, Muir has been a major player in the news industry for more than 20 years. However, speculation and rumors are now rife like wildfire. David Muir might be leaving a BC newscast. Is it possible? A YouTube video that sparked discussions on social media platforms was the catalyst for the rumors concerning his leaving. Some people are left perplexed, while others have made snap judgments. However, we shouldn't jump to any conclusions just yet. Over the course of her career, Muir has reported on significant international issues from the front lines for decades. And there are significant concerns when considering his departure. What really is happening behind the scenes at ABC News, then? David Muir is an Emmy-winning journalist who has earned his spot among the titans of American television. He is not your typical news anchor. In American homes, Muir has been a mainstay since taking over World News Tonight in 2014. He has gained respect and affection outside of the newsroom for his investigative reporting, in-depth coverage of international crises, and ability to relate to people from all walks of life. From reporting from the combat zones of Afghanistan and Ukraine to documenting the aftermath of the Fukushima nuclear accident, Muir's dedication to journalism has never wavered. However, his career is being hampered by rumors regarding his future with the BC News, despite his awards and decades of expertise. Why the newfound skepticism? After a YouTube video implied that Muir would be quitting a BC News position, the rumors initially gained traction. However, further investigation into the video's origin shows that it wasn't entirely reliable. It didn't take long for journalists and fans to reject it as untrustworthy due to its dubious editing and AI-generated content. Nevertheless, the rumors aren't going away. Here's something to think about, though. Muir hasn't been on international news tonight in a long time. This absence amounted to little more than summer vacation. Why, then, are rumors that he might leave still circulating? It took David Muir some time to become well-known. It was indeed a long route that required a lot of commitment, perseverance, and hard work. Muir had lofty aspirations while growing up in Syracuse, New York. However, those aspirations were not without difficulties. He knew he wanted to be a journalist when he was 12 years old. His determination to succeed distinguished him from many other would-be reporters. He wanted to be involved with the news, not just watch it. Motivated by local news figures such as Ron Curtis, Muir wrote to Curtis to ask for guidance on how to get started in the field. Curtis' answer? The lesson is straightforward yet profound. There is always space for the right individual. You might be the one. Muir was able to learn the ins and outs of television journalism during his first internship at WTVH in Syracuse because to that support. Even more amazing is the fact that he didn't hesitate to work hard. Muir worked as an intern over the Christmas break, devoted himself to every chance, and received recognition for his developing abilities. Even as a high school student, Muir's professionalism was evident in his earlier interviews, which, albeit showing a much younger Muir, nevertheless demonstrate a composed and assured journalist. By the time Muir started college, he was broadening his horizons in addition to working towards his degree. He immersed himself in Spanish culture and language while studying overseas, which ultimately proved to be a great advantage for his career. His early commitment to widening his horizons would eventually enable him to meaningfully engage with stories from throughout the world. David Muir's broadcasting career proceeded in a number of levels that demonstrated his tenacity and developing skill. Following his internship at WTVH, Muir immediately won over industry insiders, landing his first full-time reporting position at WTTV. He was already differentiating himself from his peers with his performance. The Associated Press quickly acknowledged his abilities and gave him awards for Best Television Interview and Best Enterprise Reporting. Covering the destruction caused by Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans was one of the most pivotal events of Muir's early career. Although the incident clearly had a negative emotional impact on him, it was also a turning point in his development as a journalist. Despite his pain, Muir recognized the significance of his participation after seeing the eerie picture of survivors marooned in the wake of the storm. He ensured that the world saw the tragedy by giving voice to the voiceless while maintaining camera stability. As he transferred to WCVB-TV in Boston, where he covered a variety of high-stakes topics, his success only grew exponentially. David Muir, however, was obviously more than just a journalist. His career would be defined by his exceptional capacity to emotionally engage both his audience and the topics he covered. Muir's career peaked in 2014 when he was hired as the anchor of BC's World News Tonight. As the successor to the renowned Diane Sawyer, Muir was occupying a position that had been occupied by some of the most esteemed broadcasters. However, Muir was motivated to leave his stamp and wasn't merely trying to follow in the footsteps of his predecessors. Not only did David Muir's ascension to World News Tonight anchor mark a sea change in his career, but it also changed the course of ABC News. Many questioned whether Muir, who took over in 2014, could fill the enormous vacuum left by Diane Sawyer, one of the most admired people in television journalism. Muir took on the enormous task head-on, bringing his distinct energy and style to the broadcast. The change was very instantaneous. His show started drawing younger audiences and had a sharp increase in viewership, which was a significant change in the evening news environment. Muir's voice struck a chord with viewers because it was sympathetic and hopeful. He distinguished himself from many of his contemporaries by striking a balance between sober reporting and a tone that seemed real and approachable. In addition to being a reliable source of breaking news, the program regularly featured human interest tales, providing a much-needed emotional connection in a world too frequently dominated by depressing headlines. His ratings weren't the only indicator of his popularity. Even though the media landscape was changing quickly due to the emergence of digital platforms, World News Tonight was praised as one of the most watched news shows on television in 2020. The Washington Post claims that Muir's show had a strong audience of viewers between the ages of 25 and 54, a crucial market that advertisers target. For example, his interview with Bill and Melinda Gates received more than 500,000 views on Instagram and other popular media sites. David Muir had established himself as one of his generation's most important journalists. However, his tale was far from finished. Nobody anticipated that the upcoming years would present fresh difficulties that would put his fortitude and reputation in the broadcasting industry to the test. It took time for David Muir to establish himself as one of America's most dependable journalists. Actually, it started when Muir was just another adolescent with lofty dreams in Syracuse, New York. He had already decided to pursue a career in journalism by the time he was 12. Observing news anchors with amazement, the way was clear for Muir. In times of crisis, he aspired to be the one people sought to for answers and the voice that enlightened them. He had an unwavering ambition. When Muir was 12 years old, he wrote to Ron Curtis, a local Syracuse anchor, seeking for advice on how to get into the news industry. In response, Curtis gave Muir words of wisdom and encouragement, saying that there was always space for the right person in television news. This early direction was crucial in motivating Muir to seize any chance that presented itself. He did not travel the conventional path. Muir worked nonstop rather than following a set internship timetable. She even volunteered during summer and Christmas breaks. Every career milestone was marked on the newsroom wall at his initial station, WTVH, which served as a chart of his development. He was learning how to tell tales that mattered in addition to the technical components of the job. When Muir interviewed local leaders during his high school years, his innate ability to relate to people was evident. His professionalism was already evident, even though his voice and appearance were still evolving. Heather Richpaka, a friend from his youth, remembers that Muir would frequently mention his desire to work in New York City, stating, "I'm going to be the next Dan, rather." However, Muir's dreams were driven by passion as much as ambition. He approached every chance with a goal, which ultimately resulted in his decision to study abroad in Spain. In addition to being academic, the experience allowed him to fully immerse himself in a new culture and acquire useful language skills that would be extremely useful in his future work as an international reporter. Although many people are unaware of it, Muir's fluency in Spanish is a crucial component of his international reporting. As his career developed, Muir held a number of important reporting positions, including his first full-time job at Syracuse's WTWH. He encountered numerous difficulties there that helped mold him into the journalist he would eventually become. Muir developed the abilities that would propel him to the top of ABC News via perseverance, hard effort, and an unrelenting quest for perfection. David Muir's ascent at ABC News was the consequence of his unwavering commitment to the journalism profession as well as years of arduous work. Muir had always strived for greatness, from his early days of reporting to assuming the legendary position of anchor for ABC's World News Tonight. He was establishing his own legacy, though, rather than merely carrying on Diane Sawyer's legacy. In 2014, Muir's promotion to lead anchor marked a turning point in both his career and ABC News' history. In addition to assuming a prominent role, Muir was tasked with preserving the show's popularity while forging his own personality after succeeding Sawyer, one of the most adored personalities in television journalism. And he was successful. There were brilliant moments during Muir's reign. Under his direction, World News Tonight rose to prominence as one of the most popular nightly newscasts, attracting a diverse viewership that included both elderly viewers and the highly sought-after 25 to 54 age bracket. His coverage of significant world events went beyond simply delivering the facts. It also aimed to engage viewers emotionally, demonstrate empathy, and offer in-depth analysis. As an illustration of Muir's ability to engage both traditional TV viewers and the increasing number of digital viewers, his interviews with celebrities such as Bill and Melinda Gates received millions of views on social media. It was evident that Muir had emerged as a major force in both broadcasting and the internet era of journalism.